Kwa baby emfa emra mpensenpensenmu ebre eso awiyafo atrase a ye betwe enkomode afa oman Ghana kanko ene ne mpontuo eho. But before that, on the brighter side of life, happy birthday enko enfama. I think you say Erama, yes, Sylvia Erama Owari. Happy birthday. And confirm Sylvia Erama Owari. And then a birthday a free obusia phone nyina enchen. Sylvia muso wish you all the best. Yankopon enhira na onyo kese. Kopem se obeye kese pa. So happy birthday once again enko. Emfa ema me dey akwasi in free sabre compensation on kono meba pounds ma adwenu enum no trust na atwe enkomo dey afa Ghana nka akọ mpuntu eho ba me ka say na dey mortar Guinness ne mu aye de because of the jeje can a sleek can say that yen misu di su kemu a efe kra keke na say na mortar Guinness na emu de no say se mu de no kra times 35 o twem over 100%. Emu de no kwa ni mu pa emuden ko ene mu papa tem so sa wo pe anonom de a e ka be ma omni mu ago na abo ani padwan so a e mortar Guinness ya ajo de jeje kano da bia mpaso ya tra hu se e be ye shield kakra wo se yes me see adenwunu bebre ne ya na nyene bat mortar Guinness jeje kan se o chile ne kakra bia o egu mini mu aja be jeje dai nano kakra bedi mu amprema asemba eja na nya de ketua jai menyani kosua ba ya make sure that we to be able check the made in Ghana logo yeah on se na be ya wonkoto ne yeah approve ye. Peter Kwasimensa, a member of the NDC National Communications Team, watna se hwere mu se Dr. Isaac, a member of the NPP National Communications Team, beka ye wakwasi boko de ehye
Adom nya hweye na.
Okay.
Send yes here no
tactics.
One for tactics and kan over ni mu nkoyi. Hwe anopai na meni obi din komo. A tuber of yam. Bayere tia bako. Sisi a 40 Ghana cedis, 50 Ghana cedis. Bayere o
Techima
bayere ya yedi over. Tia bako. Sisi 40 Ghana cedis to 50 Ghana cedis. Oko jomua chochopo ankete no. The least is 25 Ghana cedis. The least 25 Ghana cedis. Minia tomatoes yo. Se ye bako say 5 Ghana cedis. Bako tomatoes. Minia you see baby a eniama eko. You see the ripple effect ne say household efie mu na hochire gu amafo so. And sometimes ensunsanso ne bi no ene yedi hu a o kire mania ma ahodo anope me wira ho na yese se wo fa enwansene ho abufu a ahwa no abruku entimi nua yenchia Ghana for wajebre na wo hwe ofidi kase bedenchia no efiri yewra John Dramani Mahama so ye ye papa one ye maame Professor Jena na opoku ajaman.
Okay.
Wose yenchia Ghana for nyina Ghana for yewra mama se anope wonim se wobamu abu wonim se ahohiahia na atoso ba bia wo bia no se wo yan PP ni se wo yan DC ni tuber of yam ma make say 40 Ghana cedis 50 Ghana cedis no uduru dwom ha ye musa so ye MPP ana say ye ndisi ni azana ya to ama tomatoes wa ene ba akotea ketewa ba ako ye gini 5 Ghana cedis ye musa so ye ndisi ana say ye MPP ni ahokyere ne apinisie ne ye nyina ye kom entu ewom so ye MPP ni de but what ban ya what nya ne mu gidi a wo to abama wo ma di wo no enti era John mama say yan kan kire se achia emuye echen abebuo nyina anye ye bia no monim ne nyuma pa obeyeye anye ye bia mo ne to no hu se de na ne hyehyeye esi ko a na eboa oman ni nyina ane sesi a abanya moto abama no enam sem dewa na dansem o mo ka kire munti ana mamu na jinsemu oman no ye wo at a crossroad ye drum na donko ano ye hia agefo ena yewura mama say let's build the Ghana we want together oman na ye nyina ye pe no enye no ne ehu ejiro adwoma mama say no pe men kan kirew se wo ko udwaman so yi eni da so ho o kirew se nyane mu gidie isanse ne hihye na no wo ye na anya ye bia wo dwadini a woni ne te wonom no na dollar to cedi na 4 cedis 2016 4 cedis ana ekika ko 16 cedis wo dwadie no enkofo na omo dada wo se omo ba be ni yie no wasai no wasanso asori agina se mu first year na mame wo munti an wo be ka che wo se first year ma wasai o ma na wie no etini sayo ntino sankofo no me enyi o mu nsinche na yemfa yengidie ntaye wura ma amachi na ehhehye ye pa no 24-hour economy ebe sesa oman no ebe ma oman na running 24 hours e de be ya yensi kasem be kosoro yen production be kosoro yensi di na ho de betimi agina mabu na wo pa adwuma ye a wire stranded e wo kromu ombenya adwuma ye wura ma amachi no pay yemfa sa de sere de ntumanim na mo me yenwe na oman no ho kane na yenso manimu nyina ho na yen kyekere e ba ne sa Omani di ya, wawa. Ye nyina na di ye o. Enya di si fon kwa ne be di ye. Enya pipi fon kwa ne we di. Ye nyina ye be di ye.
Are you sure say ene barrier ye 50 Ghana?
Yes.
Say former president Mahama nya kwanya be di Ghana so from 2025.
Yes.
Nebo be bafo.
Ma menkyere o. Anopay na metie documentary bi. Ma me dwadeni ne se, ti asem o kan yo. Wase eye niam mienu. Sidi na hoode na akofom. Yan petro na ne boaye den enti ono ekofa niama na okra mosri no wo se tamale tachiman e hono na bayira ne edua ne pa wo mo de ba no ka sika ne boaye den enti obedu a e affect boyira ne bo ye tosu mienu sidi no ahoode na akofo mo no most of the farmers no mo use fertilizers omo koto fertilizers and omo de ye wo mo no baye. Okay. Fertilizers insu ye card ba.
Okay,
and I see the meba
21 21 with regard to fuel price.
Yes.
Say President Mama ba where ne den na nebo aba for.
Na me da say. Ghana for muntie ni ahyenkafo obi o tie nwa no pa bia. Yewa mama adwene oman ne ho nyina no se ahyenkade ehia yen. Petrol ne boye den a eha yen. Enti odi bibia ye friend of price stabilization levy e buy. Say sika we yen twato afibia petrol ne bo okosoro pe aban yi sika no e fa so petrol na say enti afibia ye nyemu 3 billion Ghana cedis akufo do ne bawomia ba ye pe chairman of the economic management team bawomia etu yeru akufo do say ye fa sika ne presidency enti enei price stabilization levy a yeru mama nhehye ya ode to say se petrol ne bo okosoro a ye mfa so petrol na say no yeru akufo do ne bawomia ma de presidency ye mfa so government machinery no mudi government machinery and you diverted the purpose of price stabilization levy and you soon found so petrol ne bo na say yeru mama say ono na de san hyehyɛ ne buy say to abama na number 1 oba be sum na ye yi sika na nke ye de so petrol ne bo asa no na ye de aso asa na petrol ne bo na conform. That's number 1. Number 2 ye watema oil refinery e wo honom obe kai pass you mama penso no na ye say ye be stabilize na atumi ahye sa oil refinery ne mu kena enti fango na ye tu ha say no ye de kwa mono ne ye crude no na de kwa mono ne omo refinery na akwa akoto enti yesisa do Ghana cedis bebrebe ya akosisa ne dollars near the akoto near the aba hayen e ba ne sa at the end of the day no petrol ne bo no e kosoro say yetimi hye oil tama oil refine mo kena na ya refine oil no wa ha na me ya Adom ya refine wa ha no petrol ne bo e be kosoro eno ne ya number 2 mama table
omo to crude wa Ghana no.
Yes
emre bia nchechiro so mutu omo nane no Ghana
aban hyehyeye
ene de
se obema aban adwumaku a e be refine oil no etime edimu who can abide to President Mama Assembly? Or no, his responsibility as government.
Say, ye can say, Emre be any baby, a share talo ne other Yumekua, it took crude or Ghana. utua nane no Ghana.
And I make sure also the same thing. It must come from a political will, a political leader. But instructor said, "Talu, any more no, obeye."
So
if the political figure don't have the political will, so be instructed, so be so much no, obe push you more, obe more man who say, "Yeah, I deal with him, oh my Ghana, monya." They will not do.
Ye be yen sakra o sa amranim.
Fantastic.
Ya share. Omo mu tu crude o Ghana.
So mo so betumi aye den, aye refinery.
Omo refinery o Ghana.
Yes. Na de to so mi no aban na nkasa de no tema oil refinery no ye betumi asemu kena na oil refinery na ye adwuma ye tumi refine oil no wa ha ya because iro mama eye nhihye ye say o man na ye wo mu ni nyina no ye oil field na ye ba akopɛ but the vision lead da no odwene o man ho no one na pamfo tu anamon ama ofra ba nwa so no ne the oil field no tu abeka ho enti ankan ye oil production. And the President Mama, now you're little around 60,000 barrels per day. And then you can say, because you had 2 oil field back your oil production are moving from 60,000 barrels per day to over 200,000 barrels of oil per day. And at the end of the day, money in your sika. Also, this is because oil refinery, then refining oil no waha. As you were Kufadone, Dagomiadi. Over Sikadiana, what moon finishes a year. Ebema in development aba omenemo enu nti na yewa mama say Ghana for eyame na menya sa ni tuade hunu we eyame na me de san hihye we ba ye MPP abanya Akufo de ne ba womi ada na omo ba omo jai sa nyama we mu nyina ato ho enka omo beto a me hihye na me ye ne so a enka ne yemfa ngo no yemto no yewa mama apenso no a gallon of fuel no na ya around 15 Ghana cedis and a Ghana for to a liter of fuel no almost 15 Ghana cedis. It's a shame. And this uncommon way no and you can see a trend saying this and not saying MPP some MPP abaya Akufo de ne ba omi ada no no and open Ghana for ni me be dia dance say omo di area mo.
Okay, so
we need to really focus on the measures here.
Okay.
You mama di gu akwan man ka ben sesa yen oil and as energy sector.
So the full refinery capacity of Tema oil refinery say a year juma to the Jinemu 45,000 barrels per day.
Fantastic.
But now we are doing 120,000 barrels per day. So until over 120,000. Now say over 40, say about 75,000. We're still going to go outside.
Yes.
And President Mama said by his hands the capacity of Tema oil refinery. So make me absorb the 120,000 barrels.
Me da se pa. Ma me sa ma example. You mama a share energy sector on say gas a yadi here. And he invested $1 billion e call gas mo. Etienne Ghana gas a trouble gas production. Any President Mama na ye investment no. But ye we Akufo ne ba wumia. Afibia sa trouble gas na ye mama invest wo e more my Ghana $300 million every year. Enti ye de nam ene yi nam. Ira mama de or say onim how to make productive investment. Enti say obe invest e was tema oil refining more. You be increase production.
Okay.
You be increase and it's all about investing in it and also ensuring proper management system at the sector. The moment you do that, no, a be pay back. I'm on mine, no, yet stabilize it. And untina, ne shisha ye bia or ye bia no. MPP are buying this one fast one day. But they have not been able to do a single. They be Michelle people for me so one investment it can be equated to Atuabo gas and more money $300 million.
Peter Kwasi Mensah, a member of the NDC National Communications Team. Dr. Ezekiel Jekum Obey and so as Dr. Bokodia.
I'm not doing rapping.
Or a medical doctor until yet Dr. Na. You're born war institutions as you know. We're a medical doctor and Kasa. Abamu to say.
I'm Adom. Nema Echo.
We are where sending my boy in Ujaso.
Nah, there's global inflation, food inflation in particular.
Okay.
AKP rise it day in day out. All kind World Bank reports, any IMF report. We see what, especially food inflation, continuously it's rising. Offer commodity, but say a citrate, any maize in particular, global level it keeps rising, and there are so many reasons I bet to me attribute to such things. Okay. For example, global chain supply issues are about what we are saying, the geopolitical conflict are also what we are saying, and the recent war now, war Middle East. You know, say we share Israel and then the enclave. Nitrogen are NPK fertilizers no, because the NPK, nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, those elements and they come together. They fertilizer. If you take nitrogen components now, the Middle East, and the highest producer.
Israel,
Palestine, Gaza, Syria, they are the highest producer of nitrogen-based fertilizer. Then definitely it may affect the production of fertilizers across the world. And when that happens, occasion that automatically because the input now you hear for agriculture no, then of course other reasons I might see. It's all about managing your local situation to making sure say the repercussions now about food, you know. But of course, if you move outside the confines of Accra, food relatively cheap. In my facility, for instance, because of where we are situated, Omoko in Sawam, Omoko Dija de Bantino. We hope that we'll be able to open up the market. Now the other farming communities areas, Nesuna, Inyane, Sebi, Ewohono, be able to bring more to Yaya Wakra Hana Yum produce to help ease the situation for us.
Okay, so Abanye aware of all these issues are here, Bobo.
Yeah.
Dear Abanye, I said that here in particular to ensure that at least
so if you look at the global context, and then your government, it's in tandem with what the government is doing. Say making sure say situation arise here because Ghana sebi any island on its own, definitely repercussions it be so that is where government policies are very, very important. We share December last year, and it wasn't for any purpose other than the planting for food and jobs. Now government we know say it be a seasonal, atoso dear, tomatoes, pepper and all those things are seasonal. And now I buy and making sure say as part of the planting for food and jobs phase 2 mechanized, digitized irrigation system, and the best that out of season. So you drew Brabra in so year, a beb one by year. That is where the mechanized irrigation ebamu. And see a best regana for Ubia Enya to wase Emma Abine. Now Abine is in the process of doing it. Yeah, earmark certain food substances, tomato, pepper, onion, you did mostly in this country. I see under the planting for food and jobs phase 2 government concentration to the extent that you be self-sustaining in those areas. Now you to produce every quantity of those food stuff. Now you did to be able to even export some. So everything and government interventions is in the pipeline.
So government in December, now Adriane Boer and cost because of planting for food and jobs. They are planting for food and job in December until
so if you look at the phase 1 for planting for food and jobs, government mostly gave subsidies. Market about 3 million farmers across the country. And our government inputs, fertilizer and seedlings in particular, and our extension services. Until almost produce now, almost produce within those years and home for so and a bar in December, food items and control, especially during Christmas, food items and control. And within a long time in our history, the first time you can point to say you di bronya sebi and rather prices were rather stable or reduced other than moving forward due to how our government and in that phase of planting for food and jobs phase 1 government recognizes a key issue with agricultural sector which has got to financing. In the financing aspect and our government seeks to address in the phase 2 of the planting for food and jobs because in the end farmer input fertilizer, seedlings. Now we could be now the cost of work and also a bank now loan. Near didn't see whom Cassia is in the end, yes, you've done something, but the end result is rather a financial burden on the farmer. And now phase 2 of the plans for food and jobs to address.
So into the 3 million Ghana cedis near Pompey.
No, 3 million farmers beneficiaries.
3 million farmers, sorry. Yeah, Pompey is cardamom. Was it Adiana a free? And I buy pen coin be society free or more. Did they pay it back?
The subsidies and the inputs, no fertilizers, either were hugely subsidized because all cotton be a 10 cedis, I buy can say mafa 6 cedis, made amount 4 cedis, or they were free, especially the seedlings. I buy them into what the Greek producing constituents in particular, a lot of the MPs especially benefited from the free inputter government at the mine, because the seedlings for the farmers to grow, no, now a constituency, and now man terminal, a agric-based constituency or district, most of the MPs and the district assemblies, you can check, they really benefited from those inputs for the first phase of the project.
Enyania omujiane dodo.
Yeah.
Ebroso maye, because any boba of my means na a dosu.
At the time, yes,
at the time,
massive production.
A dosu it me save. How won it me a boy in this time?
So the buffer stock came in handy. And now we share free SHS model, so our government they are back. Most of the food produce now are buying a free planting for food and jobs. And now you cook cry with the buffer stock system. And no, and now you cook mostly at the survey in secondary cycle institutions now. So government benefited, prices of food stabilized, and government used what was left, especially into feeding for the free education and the other interventions our government in terms of feeding for your school system. So those are the benefits of mine. So but I understand your question. I see we need to move on to a step further. I see should be enough. We should have more warehouses to save enough. And in such seasons now, lean seasons, no, so we can bring those things to the market.
Yeah, because
all those things
doctor, of course,
are in line.
If they are investing in the farming activities of about 3 million farmers, it's huge.
It's huge.
I
understand the second part of the answer I gave you. Say I understand. Primarily, buffer stock took stock of those produce, and I feed the free SHS system to making sure say your schools day in day out but to cater for the whole population. That is where I said I understand your question. Say moving forward, we need to save more, such that near any perishable. Say you do lean seasons like this, we can bring them to the market, and they are all part of the issues that the second phase seeks to address. Now we will be very, very much self-sustaining, especially in certain productions. Nigeria, for instance, they ban the importation of rice to making sure the local farmers and the producing. That is what the population you will feed. Into Nigerian movies and most of the place now plate now. You can clearly see that these are local rice. You buy your rice production from about 600,000 metric tons to 1.2 million metric tons. Now we'll share the yearly consumption of rice per the Ghanaian 1.5 million metric tons. So your deficit a year 1.5 million metric tons. It's your deficit of 300,000 metric tons. Even though you're moving from 600 to 1.2 So by 5 years time the ministry's activities with the phase 2 of the planting for food and jobs seeks to bridge that 300,000 metric ton deficit.
I cut down importation of rice.
Rice importation has been cut down.
Okay, so
about 40 to 60%.
Okay, so their consumption
1.5 million metric tons
a year.
A year.
And they say production
1.2 million metric tons. 2 million metric tons of rice. Because if you look on the market, most of the rice now, especially the young ones, are advertising on social media on our market. Recently, Sehuyi also area, Adom rice, for example, was outdoored as part of 1D1F productions. If you look on the market, most of the rice these days now, a lot of it are local rice, but they are well packaged. Yes, I have a couple of friends on social media. Motobi, I can recommend Royal Vina, one of a very outstanding lady. Our social media will turn rice, a whole warehouse for her, and a couple of others. And one of the interesting things is that your rice now you're producing.
They can afford to do move it to local rice.
Local rice packaging, because so now we are adding value to your rice. About 40-60% cuts in importation of rice. You can let your producer check for you.
Okay, so
rice production has been curtailed by 40-60% under this administration. We have moved the production from 600,000 metric tons to 1.2 million metric tons. You can also check from the ministry, or the producers can also do those things for you. But like I was saying, Nigeria, the only rice, the only place to making sure someone importing rice from other country to their country, Ghana. And to show your local production now, yes, we are producing a lot. And part of the people helping us to consume those productions, Nigeria. Ghana for
Nigeria for no consuming.
They come and buy your rice mostly into Nigeria, even though there's a ban on importation. But through the ECOWAS movement, and we are itimi a year because we are part of the same regional body, they are able to come to other countries. They are itimi called Togo, any other countries called Tonyama Bayamamono. They are able to come and purchase our rice once again to their country. And the best way, Ghana force year go ahead no. We need to change your taste. And the good thing is that the local rice now you're producing are nutritious because we share a critical element like vitamin B, B1, I friend the timing in English. We share ammonia you're polishing up because you're rare ammonia hunina that food component na diani ahun dia ewo emuno ebinim because of how polished the imported rice are. But your local rice is rich and it's very nutritious.
Okay, so from Minister of Food and Agriculture,
yeah,
Ghana's domestic rice production paddy increased from 463,000 metric tons in 2011 to 119 million metric tons in 2022.
Exactly.
As shown in the figure below, the current per capita rice consumption is above 52 kilograms per person per year. This was published on 3rd December 2023.
Exactly. So we've moved production. But of course, because there's still deficit of that 300,000 metric tons, and any issue, aside what Nigerians are taking out of the system into
way local rice near
yeah.
Nigeria for a ton of dodo for. Those are the studies. You can check from the ministry. Yes, you can check from the Ministry of Agri. Figure in mind, at least you've confirmed from the Ministry of Agri. You can also check. Nigerians come to buy your rice because it's very nutritious. Until you will see, as part of education, on a program like this, you're entreating Ghanaians. I say your rice production now you make it in this country, and your MPP NDC Ghanaian-made rice. I call Estroho, Northern Ghana, Oko water part of Ghana. You're producing it's very nutritious, and our whole and our rather it taking advantage of the rice production, and very very good on our part these days. The young ones in particular, are finding ways of packaging your rice, adding some value to it to meet the taste of the Ghanaian for foreign rice production. And until you're making sure, see a bit developing taste. Send I buy ya minu ya chef we I also wash we nego think at least me the Ghana be account. Until we see developing the right taste for your locally produced substances, any food stuff now you're producing. And I believe we will get there. Jene, tomato, pepper, they are all earmarked. And with time, there will be no importation of those things. The Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2 is seeking to address those issues. Let's encourage government, and pumping more resources into agriculture. Now you're making sure see a bit to me those, and I believe the benefits will be for the Ghanaian. Instead, will be a Ghanaian now we're into rice. Instead of going out to import rice, a good warehouse for years. Now you're transporting on the sea for a long time. Now be sure you be just a whoso crowns and what you Let's push those resources into supporting our farmers. Let's buy from them. Let's set up our small refineries to be able to refine our rice and package them here now in Fanco markets. And I believe with time, our taste will change and we will all go Ghana to consume our products. How was it?
You see, dear Emma and Como we here say Ghana for you will you feel the reality. Until you can sit here and give us the rhetorics. But the reality, Ghana need any face. In public policy, you have policy input and a policy outcome. If so policy now, the outcome are reflected in the general growth. The policy is as useless as the name of the atosho. One of the policy, flashing policy, you're wasting Ghana for sika. It was so, and it's our planting for food and jobs. When you see Ghana 2023, Ghana for sika 4 billion Ghana cedis, and I say planting for food and jobs. Rice importation now all can. In 2016, now young for planting for food and job will be unto young tabri Ghana for sika 4 billion Ghana cedis here because planting for food and job. No, now our rice importation it was around 400,000 metric ton.
That was here,
2016, 2016, and they are all about planting for food and jobs. I am investing 4 billion Ghana cedis. Rice importation is still hovering around over 650,000 metric tons. The question is that Sika who the shares are planting for food and job no. Adentina ain't me reflecting. Even increasing the importation of rice into the country. Ebra yam for DBM to so planting for food and job. Ebra Ghana for buying Yera Mama Banko Tabri Ghana for 4 billion and Fanko say one. Now our importation figure was low. Every year was what Tabri Ghana for Sikano. Importation is high. Menoka say. Maize, ebra ye kradipa krumakra. I increase the importation has increased as compared to 2016. And at the end of the day, so planting for food and jobs, hula balloon, and this it has not reflected in the actual growth, the actual outcome of Ghana for year.
Okay, Nchakwasi, I'm trying to say in 2016, for example, right?
Yes.
What was our consumption rate?
Minia, the consumption rate was still around that 1 million tons. You can go and cross check.
Around
USA for NIA research and about irrespective, we were trying to manage the local industries. And the we buy our say plenty for food and jobs. It didn't kafu ya mafansi ya kudwa. Ya tepi Ghana for 4 billion Ghana cedis ya kushim. At the end of the day, we should not be crying. When you go to schools, one of the critical problems we are having right now.
Sorry. Okay. Unyi ni say your rice importation above.
It is not about say unyi ni say your rice importation above. May show the state that we were. As our brother Nian can say, your friend is saying, planting for food and job. Yan can see I'm investing Ghana for 4 billion kwakushim. And at that point, I was what be investing 4 billion Jim. What did think atosuono? Your standard should be below what you came to meet. That is the policy outcome I'm talking of. Because what could Tebri Ghana Fosikan, why you found fed Wama Ghana for say, oh, when ye and the state no. Because of the kind of investment I was why you were money, it should reflect in the absolute reduction. And that's what we are talking of. And yes, you can boast of reduction be but at the end of the day, the actual outcome does not come. You cannot compare to what you came to meet, and that is a waste. And me, my problem with this government, I don't know. I don't think that's only more about. Because only more about CD depreciation pay. Okay, say Uber fan 4 CDs. Okay, Ghana for say and yet Etiama kwa Oba Bayan Shena Etumia form. And they am no say see the name 16 Ghana cedis. Only amoko kasa pe no be kajo percentage increment near the other. And I that way. So that is the nature of the MPP. And no na me person Ghana for Ghana ni bia wutie me anopen. And for me you see adia ba ko aya na den say omo kasa na me nua Ezekiel so de to de bia no eya na me de fa ama no. Omo kasa na de omo ye different, and that is what he demonstrated right now. O say yenya den yen consume made in Ghana. It's what Tressa men know dear. Once ye made in Ghana. But who say or no dear one shame made in Ghana. And that is the typical of MPP. San MPP here, the omo cano, and the omo yeno, and you're different. And at the end of the day, over pretty at row. But no continue to chroma the oil and you're different. And that is what we are facing in the country.
Planting for Food and Jobs programs, brainchild of NDC Sam George. The Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram constituency, Sam Nate George, wants glory.
Yes.
Wants any glory associated with yesterday's Planting for Food and Jobs program launched at Gosu in the Brunafo region to be given to the immediate past NDC government. The program is to be run primarily on the back of $120 million fund secured from the Canadian government, which was announced during the President's State of the Nation address. According to the lawmaker, the government of Ghana and the Canadian government began discussions on the design and modalities for the next phase of budget support programs for Ghana in 2013. Quote, the Mahama administration, after extensive studies, decided that the sure way to food sustainability was to have a specific program targeted at injecting capital at the district level to support agriculture. The Mahama administration developed a program named Modernizing Agriculture Productivity to the Local Economy, MAPO. Program was approved by the Canadian government and rollout date of 2015 was set.
So, I know pay me no question. I'm a Ghana near Oshemi and Opeatia. and she say ya yɛde so ya agriculture mu yɛde so ya no ba ya dua no wo mamu na yɛtimi increase production no ɛyɛ NDC mpo aban ɛna yɛ nhyehyɛ sɛ yɛmpagya yɛmpo da hye
NDC na time NPP na time din kukuruka be dia
na say planting for food and job near fanfare at the end of the day only me objective on say ubusa the question because very meba ubusa a very critical question the objective of say ubeye planting for food and job ni nyina say produce and store edu ahochire bi ma yenye den yen release na prices no enye the enko from ubusa the storage ebe sin I am telling you they cannot. Not just says planting for food and job 4 billion in Ghana. You give me your storage be among my Ghana, and that is the waste I am talking of. That should be the outcome. And so I am happy. At least one my Ghana for say, yeah, grandpa, yeah, this is the
Mula Ava. Our some is the carry gombo to him. Ever Dr. Ezekiel Jacob ever trust the abai. We are them fine. We're near Mempaba. And we are 12 of 6. Akonya also besa. Sorry, when you know, because if I say, come, Kelchaco toothpaste, everybody cheers. I'm here saying, I come. Kingdom Heba Fonso ni Papa, and the Abajaso. And no better me abu amanda be on yapom, Dindia Quentia, Yalhodua, Eba Unipedrium. Kingdom Heba for Akachi, and a very good morning to you, Dr. Amofa, Agrameton Kache. Yamia Sumji and Cow. Michelle Pepper. Then a happy birthday call and from Chairman General Kwame Sefakai of Peace FM. Happy birthday, Chairman. Yamin Tonkoso na unshraw sa. When my power ye edeboa. Oh my Ghana. Also a very good morning to Fifi Bansen, the dynamite. But that's why you read out share. I don't pay. So I was never that so I know Esiano. Madam Doctor, what will ruling from the Supreme Court about?
Make a meti kwesi de tear.
The
the rebuttal now be
time now
together with the Supreme Court issue no. Okay. So ubisa me a very important question. I say during this time, the total consumption of rice he couldn't give you the figure. And I'll call ahead a lambasted planting for food and jobs. And I'll mention two critical things. I say it should reflect in the outcome and growth. The outcome is that, and like you read from the ministry's portal, rice production has increased. There's no doubt about it. The outcome is also that a baby by last year Christmas, everyone brought anchors because a lot of food in the system. The outcome is that your buffer stock are receiving in and they are feeding your free SHS students. That's the outcome. In terms of growth, there are great growth. You're choppy with planting for food and jobs. Now at the point, we are doing negative growth for our Greek. What we came to meet was 2.9 growth in our Greek sector before NDC FISO. And we are doing averagely, it's 6%. That is the growth aspect. Okay, and he went ahead to lambast the thing until you read the message from MP Sam George. I say, oh, that thing no crampono and ye Kufuado and then I buy a glory. Now NDC for. But we know NDC. Whenever a program is started, now a now a yield results, that is when they come to claim ownership. The free SHS. Now Ghana for CS Remo. Free SHS dear. Mo can say yentiase because a buy way and the free SHS buy. Clearly, you can see the importance of planting for food and jobs. Farmers are benefiting, the inputs are the mamu, and then the outcome are yenya or yejaso. And then the Greek growth are the brain pay your budget and sectoral growth are you're reading it year in, year out. Okay. Going on to the Supreme Court issue. Yet here you celebrities, and I almost said the Sebi, Juma the entertainment and the creative art industry. Sebi Omajidin or Maimu. And a tower said FDA at the bar say ma obi bia said wajidin or my more a friend celebrity and yet said enro any ensa ehun advert now they believe I say share the section of the youth in particular omodwumadie any influence and popularity in society no ewo effect ewo omo so na omo mpese omo Adom anim ebekoye ensa any nnobi eho advert na akọ influence your youth no wo sha asem na there are so many dimensions to it because utie yenuanum so a omo so ko Nigeria yenuanum Nigeria for na hakrampo de ya bane obia ese se obe use celebrity bi eda ya adverter e wo sen ko Nigeria ni. And in terms of adverts in general, Nigeria, 70% should go to the local people and only 30% of those adverts should be foreigners. Into Okwa, it is very difficult. So we Ghana now penetrate into Nigeria. By then they are open your doors, open door policy for everyone to come in. And rather, you cancel celebrities and we should not use them for those purposes. Almost say basa, endorsement deals. Any sebi sikabia e wose enka omunya no ema omunchen na foforo e na eba oman mu ebeji sa glory no eni sa sika no e de akọ omukro mu a emo oman no nti nka omunko a enka ye miemu fda miemu na court no so entie omusu na onyintum na ye miemu na omuntumi enya those opportunities na sebi kakrawa beba omsem no enka aba Supreme Court so tina ase no sebi wanye omasem antumu. Even as much as we should look at the other side of it. I think the financial freedom to do ninyuma, to do the endorsement, because as sebi sika any ahoden any call into building the brands now. Sebi omo. But yet na the fabric of the society, your cultural values, any your norms, any your manner are yet it's an influence are those people ewo yemma any youth nesoniti no because ene celebrity bi bibi kana no na obe testify say eye obi nkotobia it has influence on a lot of the youth almost so be kotobi na saying issues about with waist corset your bo ye di mia ye fu kintin ema ye mai ye say omu shape eba omu tame eye flat as to whether it works is another discussion, but of course the moment they see these stars using it, advertising it, they are forced to go and patronize those things. Now say me share social media. You see in neuro sebi it me enhance about body features in neuro, and I keep asking myself sebi omo tono not celebrities per se, but omo tono do they know the implications of those medicines now omo no because sebi in neuro bi e won sunsun so body no o fa edura o liver and o kidney and anya asem o kidney ne be ye hu adwuma. Now, the waste aspect of the drone will liver, will kidney, and the bear expel from your system, and your liver primarily will help with the metabolization of those chemicals. Until this I know ye koyemu, as I said, ebe hansi your chest, ebe hansi your side, ebe hansi your back. No, do we know the implications of those medicines? But it's something crofobia, ajidin kakra, ewo social media so our more followers intino when they go and they advertise those things. Sebi say some of them do not even use these medications, but it's not the influence they have on the youth. People watch them, people look at them, and they patronize all these things. In the end, the side effect of those things, and to me, Emma out, Emma Yunhu. And in as much as a bitter pill to swallow, I understand Yenuanoma, Omajidino, Esin Kai Baya, and Kebe Bois Omunuma, Ebe Bois the hard-earned reputation, any image now, Oma building. To bring something to their pockets. But the other side, I am to mean controlling, and the rippling or repercussions are on certain recommendations said they will make through alcohol and other substances to me and so on. It's a two-sided issue. You can look at it from their benefit point of view and the effects I am to mean controlling. And I believe that is where the courts and the FDA is coming from to say that the Abraham Amaniamba.
Okay.
Yenchaso.
Let us say, Doctor.
Because now we say I have former Adom TV.
Oh yeah.
And ye easy. It's the major have for you now more but now as a TV star. Me I'm a groom for Gasim because almost show giddy. On my test, I don't fair be child and I come. Now me reverend be or show a video partner also what an answer no Adom TV and Naja. Lady Reverend Vera appear crown on it me apostle appear crown and chairman of it. Now me catch you say Mr. Vincent Owofenso, a businessman, born DC party, and a birthday. And Mr. Vincent, I don't pay you, wish you happy birthday. And that was his out here to TV. I don't pay. On say, Quasier, Macacha was say, Minway, and can command kunugun so kohosa. The standard you set is what you came to live and you came to meet under NDC government. It is all the investment and then Adom class and she will crown yes, your mama and she send an edao. It is what Ghanaians are yen na him say the over 2 and I'm saying investment the importation should reduce below what you came to meet. And anything above what you came to meet is a failure. Admit that. And in fact, and also says the over 2 years na NDC abanshi and what to me any day emitted that figure. So you have failed. They're planting for food and hula balu around it. You are only battling with your own records. And that way, you cannot compare that to NDC record. You have failed Ghanaians. It's your honor, the money to us. I say the reality, no Ghana for any face. Omo ko dwama so no pe kototo niama ma me fo ayedi akoma sika hye omuboto omo kwa sika enso no omo na feel heat no. Enti at the end of the day omo na be ka no kore. Enya me ne me nua Ezekiel. Me nua sa FDA regulation ya for celebrities who omo call court no. Sa asem kai no. Ayasa besepa ne nkwanya haban over yetase ne banyansefuom esan se enkofo bi adwuma wo moye na omo so kakra ka oma no na yede nhyehyeye eba abaye den eba beto ho okay ne nyina no the ultimate ne say esunsanso no maza menua anope wo yi video bi na awere ho say ye nua no mrante ne mamba we bi sei wo kruma enam nsa enam wi Joto Tramo Minia diaba nanse kura maya na somu pa ya bi shisha na nim de omo ya omo shisha everything shishi ana shisha minim kura
omo twe an wusie
na wusie na buo fo omo no and na da bi omo de da omo we de anya hwe it's just for fun. It's just for fun. The health implication a long-term effect.
But Dr. Famia ya we say there's a health implication.
There's a deception.
And you watch your book
and say there's a greater deception. Say, oh, it's in them my be first and I'm ranting and clubs near the other and then my not to and who knows only or buy a decent lady who need common or just for fun. So what I say, say, oh, celebrity be. Wo ye bi me nyina ne say sa advert ya celebrity for ye bia no ensunsanso bi wo ho a ewo wo ye magunu ne so you cannot take that out. As much as I believe say oh ye nuanum celebrities o madwuma o mo ye ne ade I'm telling you there are people who are influenced by the fact who say oh papa we and advertises ade we me catch us and rachi ye di nkomo bi na say o mo say abaya bi buy obeya advert for eduro bi ama maya bebre no omunum tia hudu bi because all your celebrity now advertise this edro ntino omunum be so edro we yes tea we yes your konoma your full bet that is the effect here and one of the issue we can deal with. However enya no nko a te say de na nipa bebre kan signboard ahodu wo krom ni ade ni nyina entina say FDA for say celebrities for aya advert ama ensan hudu obi a wonsusuanso wo ye nuanom ye maba wa ye nuanom nketo ane so a signboard awodo a ya mount wo kroma no so promote no is one of them. And the last point which is so important, mesre I am so passionate about parenting kwase yeti hey so when you tete ye power fie mu pa me ma kwase ameti hey I always tell people there's nothing that will motivate me to drink.
I don't know
me no na me dey answer me because me cry no and say na mo no even that aspect no that aspect alone pushes me away. That aspect alone pushes me away.
Bibia wo na nyeso.
Yes. Na response. I'm talking about my person. And the other you see, there's nothing irrespective of the crowd that make a copy. And then motivate me so economy shisha.
But I see Peter member of the NDC National Communications Team. But because you really say the new Oko podcast, Oko YouTube, Oko adomonline.com. Your programs ni nyina ego. the programs ya ye nyinada urokwa de search Adom TV ni nyina egu wonom sene be ya every day so when to be anya time kura nhwe na no pay at the comfort of your home and now office unya break akra na person hwe baka obetimi akona kohwe ni nyina back sene be ya da biada obeye informed about ne ekoso ye ba emo be dey akwasi ise ochina efiare e be hia komo kase o ochina no pa ye ne pedi pe bu andi simbedi nkomo o fidwe emo
omo ya omo nyeska but
ochina pa be say dey hia makra